Hello, friends. I'm here. It has been a hectic week this week. I didn't even actually come up with an idea for the thing that we're hopefully gonna write today until, I want to say like 11:30 at night last night. So, I had a moment where I was like, what am I gonna write on stream tomorrow? And do I still even have time to plan? And then I kind of lucked out, I guess. So I'm here, and I have kind of an idea, and we'll see if there's a fight scene in it, and if the people from yesterday come by and want fight scenes. Story 10, not story 20. Man, that's a whole much later in the year. Okay. Normally I try to do this before the stream, but like I said, it's been a bit of a hectic week. So, yeah. Just before I went live, I was trying to put a plate in the dishwasher, and I opened the dishwasher, like, I was holding the plate in one hand and opening the dishwasher with the other so that I could just swoop it in there, and I managed to, like, jam the corner of the dishwasher onto the plate, and somehow did not break the plate, or crack the plate, or chip the plate, which I'm shocked about. Because a couple weeks ago I dropped a bowl, and I feel like the impact from that was like much less. And it put a huge chip in one of our small plates, and this was one of our big ones, which we don't have as many of.
If there are two things that I love in this world, they are sweet treats and delicious meats.
How did that happen? How is this even possible? Bruce Campbell Soup, how are you still playing? How? How? I'm gonna have to delete this old... Okay. I don't know what's happening right now on my OBS, but I'm afraid if I try to delete this, it's gonna cause issues. Okay. I deleted it. It doesn't exist anymore. And I don't know why when you right-click on something in OBS, it activates it? I don't know if that makes any sense. Cool. Yeah, so if you can still play blurps, I feel like I'm just gonna have to delete OBS off of my computer. I'm so scared, Bruce Campbell Soup, but I guess, I think my next step is just deleting OBS off of my computer and sobbing in a corner. Does it still show that Ghost is online on Blurp? Like, I don't... Is there some setting in my thing that, like, he connected that I have to, like, disconnect? I don't even understand. I don't even know what I'm looking at in OBS. All of this means nothing to me. Oh, wait. Okay.
How about a magic trick?
How are you doing this? How is this happening? How? So you see, it says blurp on the audio, but it's not... I don't understand. How do I... Okay. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't have Blurp connected to my account. I don't have it connected to my OBS. I don't understand how I deleted the one and only scene it was ever used on. I don't understand how to get rid of it. And I really can't have that kind of stuff playing while I'm trying to work. Hey, Supernatural Writer, how are you? I'm so confused, you guys. And with the week I've had, I am just... just want to give up and go back to bed. Is it because of this? It's here. Remove. Yes. Remove. Okay, now maybe it's gone? I don't... Now maybe it's gone? I guess do it again, Bruce Campbell Soup. Break the universe one more time. Bad but doing better? Oh no, Supernatural Writer, what happened? I gotta tell you, I've not had that great a week myself, so... And our friend Bruce Campbell Soup here apparently is a necromancer or some kind of wizard and can just bend the laws of reality in a way no one else can. It's so weird that, like... The weirdest thing about this, the fact that these blurps still play, is that I'm on a completely different hard drive. Like... Since I installed OBS on this computer, Ghost has never streamed to his channel from this installation of Windows/OBS. It has never been connected to his channel. Like, I don't have Blurp even associated with my account. I don't, like, there's no setting. There's nothing that should... There's no connection that should be formed there. I can't even words because I'm so blown away that somehow this thing still works. Oh my god, I finally found it. I can't believe there was one blurt thing that I forgot was on there because I thought that I had created that scene rather than Ghost. It just blows my mind that, like I said, he's never... On my old hard drive, he had streamed from here, right? And we had connected my OBS actually to his account. And I had actually streamed to his channel from my computer. But that's not, like... Yes, I copied my OBS settings over, but, like, not the connection to, like, his Twitch account or anything. I don't have a Blurp account. And it's so mind-blowing to me that, like, one little setting buried in, like, a half-forgotten scene can actually, like, keep playing a thing. Because it's not... I wish I could show you guys, like, it's not on this scene. How, like, back-end bonkers this is, that, like, every setting that I've looked at, and every setting that I've... Oh, I mean, we hadn't started yet, Bruce Campbell Soup. It's the perfect time to actually derail. But, like, from the perspective of someone who went to computer school and would be, like, called to troubleshoot these kind of things, that happening makes no sense to me. It's so unbelievably bonkers to me that you were still able to do that it's just like, I am that the big brain emote from Ghost's channel, because I don't even know. I feel like what's more likely, Bruce, is that you are magical and you just know how to play blurps no matter what. Your OBS keeps collapsing. Oh no! So is this, are you trying something new with it? Like a new, layout? Because I thought I recognized when I came over to your stream yesterday that it looked different, but it looked like you were also having some technical difficulties. I do not know much about OBS, clearly, as I've just demonstrated, but I know some people who do, so if you let me know what it's doing, Supernatural Writer, we can poll the other streamers in chat, the people who know about this stuff. Stardew Lisa, thank you so much for the raid! Welcome, welcome! Let me get you a shout out. Whoops! Oh my goodness, I already can't type. That's gonna make it great for me writing a story today. What were you working on stream today? Please let us know. We just finished fixing OBS to not do something that it was already not supposed to do. Thank you! Yeah, my husband showed me how to do that with Stream Elements. Shagraz, hello! Okay, so I have a confession. When the first blurt played, I hadn't seen Bruce Campbell Soup come into chat yet, but I had seen that Shagraz was lurking, and I thought that it was you, Shagraz. I totally thought that you found a way to blurt the stream, and I was ready to flip the table, because I was like, oh my god, I will never know rest. He can't do it anymore, because I finally got rid of blurt. It doesn't work. OBS is a pain, and like I said, Supernatural Writer, if you let us know what problem you're having, we'll try to outsource it and help you. Because I don't know what I'm doing, but I feel like there are people in chat who know what they're doing. No, well, because Bruce wouldn't do it while I was actually writing, but Shagraz, I know if you had that power, you would abuse it. Sorry, but not sorry, because it's true. We all know what we're dealing with here. Working on trying to clean up a romance manuscript I'm working on. That's awesome! Thank you so much for the follow, Stardew Lisa. Is it like, so the romance, is it a modern day romance? Is it a historical fantasy? Like what kind of setting is it in? I have a real soft spot for romances, I'll be honest. I don't find a lot of really well written ones, but when I do, oh my gosh, like I fall so hard for them. Also, hey, it's Woof. I think I missed saying hi to you in the middle of all that madness. For anyone who doesn't know, my husband, Ghost Pepper, is also a streamer. He actually has been streaming much longer than me. And a month or so ago, he did what he called his 24 Hours of Hell stream, where he streamed for 24 hours with no cooldown on blurp, and all of the blurps turned down to the minimum cost. And also the text-to-speech turned down to the minimum cost of 1 bit. And so it was pretty much 24 hours of people, like, non-stop sending sound clips and text-to-speech to the stream. And for the last hour, we played Golf with Friends, and for I think about 40 minutes of that hour, one of our friends was spamming the chat with, what was it? Jump Around. It's like a blurb that plays part of the song Jump Around, while a bunch of other people were using the text-to-speech to do the "and they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming." And afterwards, he was like, I had nightmares with those two clips playing in them after the stream. So, yeah, I was just having a nightmare flash of that becoming me trying to write, and somehow in the background it just being "and they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming," and me flipping the tables. Modern trashy RH won't lie. I work in publishing and I've been craving to write some romance trash for a while. Hey, if it's making you happy, that's all that matters. We just had this whole big conversation on stream yesterday, but honestly, the first and foremost important thing about writing is have fun. Enjoy yourself. And if that's what you want to write, do it. What makes you happy, Shagraz? Is it playing blurbs? I knew you were gonna. Playing blurbs on my stream. Look. I think it's amazing that Bruce Campbell Soup was able to figure out that he could play blurbs on my stream, but I also, like I just described, I needed to prevent the madness that happened to my husband. Although I know that he doesn't have blurbs turned down to the minimum cost anymore, but I don't know how to turn it back on, Shagraz. I don't even know how it was on in the first place. I can't make OBS do something that I don't understand how it did in the first place. Done some professional ghostwriting, and those projects never make me happy. Yeah, well, because you're writing someone else's story, right? Which, I mean, some people enjoy that, and more power to them. But you gotta write what's in your heart, right? You gotta go where the passion takes you. I won't say the name of it on stream, because Shagraz would never let me hear the end of it, but I do have a pen name under which I also just write total self-indulgent trash and throw it out into the world just to make a quick buck off of it. And I love those stories. I'm not gonna claim that they're good. But if they make me, $50, then cool. It's very, very different from what I write under my regular name, so that is why it remains secret. I will consider maybe telling some people, but not on stream. Off stream. So yeah, I think everyone has to have projects that are just to make them happy, and things that are just to, just for fun. And what we're gonna write today, nice segue, is words? Hard. Also hopefully fun if the words come out of my mouth individually instead of all at once. Do it. Didn't I already... I felt like I already told you, Shagraz, but maybe I didn't. Maybe it was Vinyl who I told. 500k words last year, by the way. Yeah, it was 590k last year. I looked it up. Gonna alert, go grab some food. Enjoy your food. I know at the end of stream I always have to go grab food too. So enjoy. Thank you so much for finding me and hanging out. And let us know if you rejoin later. We're gonna do some writing sprints. But first I'm gonna do my usual spiel. This is my 20 stories in 2022 project. This is something I just kind of came up with at the beginning of the year, because I write about 22 stories to go on my blog every year, and 22 stories in 2022 has a nice synergy. They're all prompts that I found on the internet. I have all but one of them already, not like planned out, but I've selected the prompts that I'm going to use. This was the first one we did, the prompt was a cat warning of a volcano exploding. That one is up on my blog now. for anyone who didn't get a chance to read it. And there's also a link to the VOD on YouTube for anyone who wants to see the craziness that produced that story. Every other Monday I post these freebies on my blog, so every other Monday from now until the end of the year for the most part. Sometimes they might get shuffled around for book releases. But until the end of the year will be stories that we've written on stream for the 22 Stories in 2022 project. They don't really have rules, but for my own peace of mind, I'm trying to make them fit into my multiverse that my novels take place in. And 2, I'm trying to keep the main characters in the background. We're probably gonna flat out break that this time. We might actually just break that whole rule today, but we'll see. And 3, I've noticed that I have yet to write within the same world twice. So I'm sort of kind of trying to see how long I can keep that going. The prompt for today is nothing like this has ever happened before. And the world that I'm going to be working with is my vampire universe. I don't know if I should call it that. Setting? Question mark. Not one that I've written much in before. I think there's one other story. And I meant to look this up before stream and I forgot. I think there's one other I think there's one other story on my blog that has the vampire. We found it. I think this is the only thing that I've written in this universe so far is, I think, this one. So the idea behind this setting is essentially that Damarin was born in... It's a fantasy world. I haven't done a lot of the world building for it yet. But so it's a fantasy world. Probably the story would start in roughly what would be in our world, maybe the 1300s. The idea being that Damarin was a vampire slayer at the time, probably one of the best vampire slayers because he was very dedicated to the craft. Don't think he was super religious, but probably often hired by churches to get rid of the cursed scourge. And if you read this particular prompt, it's basically about how the vampires were not pleased by how good Damarin was at killing them, so they captured him and tormented him by turning him into a vampire, which made him, of course, crave blood, which he views as an abomination. And then they kind of threw him into a basement with an innocent, thinking that he would, end up accidentally killing this person by sucking them dry of blood, because newborn vampires tend to be extremely voracious in their hunger and usually unable to control it. But by virtue of sheer rage, let's say, Damarin managed to resist the hunger until they opened, like, the trap door to check on him, at which point he promptly jumped the vampires and sucked them dry instead. So that's kind of the background here. Sometimes you just want blood, yeah. Sometimes you just suck people dry. What can you do? Exactly, Shagraz. Browse. They, in the background, the sort of idea for this novel is that sort of after that, Damarin went back to the church thinking that they would kill him because he had become a vampire, but they recognized his skill as a slayer, and instead of staking him, as he hoped that they would, they kind of locked him in a basement and, you know, kept him contained with, you know, holy symbols and holy water, as you do with a vampire, so that he could continue to be useful as a slayer. And so his personal crusade is sort of to get rid of vampires. Like, once the last vampire is gone, then he'll find a way to get rid of himself, because he won't be needed anymore. And so eventually the story moves on to modern times, right? So he's essentially several centuries old, which gives me a lot to work with in the timeline. I think this prompt is probably going to take place in the past, when he first starts. Author Goddess, thank you so much for the raid! Welcome, welcome! How are you? Let me get you a shout out. What were you working on today on stream? We're just getting set up to write story number 10 in our 22 stories in 2022 project. I'm thinking this one will take place more in the background, in the past, shortly after Damarin starts killing vampires, because the thing, like, the nothing like this has ever happened before is essentially vampires killing vampires, right? Usually it's humans killing vampires, and even if vampires hate each other, kind of working together against humans. And so this is kind of the first time that we have a vampire who has turned against their own kind. More words! Yes! Fantasine, hello, how are you? We're just about to start our first round of words, as a matter of fact. I'm just doing my my spiel about what I am doing today and sort of what led me to doing this. I think I mentioned last time that the prompt "this has never happened before" is a little bit generic compared to prompts that I usually tend to prefer working with. But I did have a lot of options for this one, and I do kind of like where I settled. Actually, while I've been talking about what to do for this prompt, I've kind of changed my mind. I think I was originally going to focus on Dahmer, the character that I've been talking about, actually in the act of hunting vampires. But I think it might be more interesting, as well as more in keeping with my project goals, if I write someone who's investigating the scene afterwards. So probably this would have to be another vampire slayer, someone who is familiar with, you know, the way vampires work and is used to hunting them, so would know what they were looking at, versus like a human inspector in the 1300s who would not necessarily have any idea what they were looking at. Well, we're gonna have to decide who the vampire slayer is, Shagraz. It's not gonna be Mattress Chan, but if you have another suggestion, I'll be open to it. Her name is not Buffy. Oh my god, Shagraz, why? Is she gonna fall in love with Dahmerin? I mean, falling in love with Dahmerin would be pointless for her because Dahmerin likes men. I guess that wouldn't stop someone from falling in love with him, but it wouldn't turn out well for them. But yeah, I think it might actually be more interesting to make it sort of like a detective scene where someone is sort of studying this vampire murder. I don't know if you can call it, I don't think they would consider it a murder, but this scene of carnage re-vampires, and realizing probably it would be someone hired by the church. Dazlacat, thank you so much for the follow. If I've mispronounced your name, let me know. You love who you love. Vampire on vampire action. Yeah, the dead vampire on vampire action. Yeah, I think it would be really interesting for that to be the seed. To basically, this carnage has happened. and someone is sort of Sherlock Holmesing it together, like what happened, and then it turns out that the thing that everyone is sort of stuck on is the fact that this was clearly a vampire. Clearly a vampire killed another vampire by your favorite Shograz sucking them dry. Got it right? Yes. I am so bad. I'm so bad with names that if I get one right, I'm like, okay. I felt so bad because I got rated by someone new to me yesterday, and I called her Janie, but her name was Janine, and it took me a little while to realize that I had like moved the letters in her name, and I was like, oh my gosh. So if I ever do that, please don't hesitate to let me know, because sometimes I'm really awful with reading names. Yeah, so if anybody wants... I'm creating this character just off the top of my head, so if anyone wants to make any suggestions, but I think what I'll do to start is head over to one of my favorite name generating sites and see if we can get a name. I always struggle if I just want plain human names from this, but let's see. Let's see what they have. I don't think they have anything that's like vampire slayer names. They have vampire names, but not vampire slayer names. I don't know why I would be looking for that, because that seems like a really weird category. Warrior nicknames, what's that? Oh, useful for other stuff, but not for this. I always get a little bit stuck when like what I want is a name that is kind of semi like normal, but doesn't feel modern, like that feels more like fantasy-ish. There's so many name generators on here too. Like, I'm spoiled for choice for sure. Oh, medieval names. Let's try that. King Bob. Hey, Laurel Tabby. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for the sub. On a 2-month streak. Thank you so much. How are you? What are you up to today? Do we want to have chat? King, oh god, I should have known as soon as King Bob popped up that Wolf was gonna be. Do we want to have a lady slayer who is investigating this incident, or do we want to have a dude? A lady. Okay, let's look at female names. So we can't be... Sorry, Wolf, it can't be King Bob. Slayers are always ladies. Is that like a Buffy thing? I see. Queen Bob. So I'm thinking more of... First of all, disclaimer, I've never seen Buffy, so I know almost nothing about the actual Buffy lore. Bobby Joe Investigator. Just got back from work, so I'm chilling. Nice! Well, I hope that you have a good evening. I'm assuming it's evening if you're just back from work, but whatever time zone. It's just mid-afternoon here. Looks like it's been trying to rain for about an hour, so we'll see if it ever actually happens. Janine, hey, how are you? Said your name right today. I haven't seen Buffy, but I'm thinking that in terms of this world, Slayers are essentially normal people with no special abilities who have been trained likely by the church or because of a family connection to combat vampires, right? So they're kind of almost like mercenaries with a specific skill set. So we're looking at someone who has basically been trained to look at, what's happening with vampires or to combat vampires, and so she would know like how you would normally slay a vampire and how you would normally deal with that situation. And so she's sort of been called in to look at this bizarre scene and give people sort of her opinion on what she thinks happened. So I like Elysia. It's an interesting name. I do like that. I'm kind of not paying attention to the titles. Trying to decide, do we want Elysia to be her first name or her last name? Could make it Elysia Malott. That might work. I'm glad that was off camera because it took me 3 times to spell it right. I'm thinking if I should have 40 longish chapters, 3 to 4K, or have like 60 to 70 shorter chapters of 2K each. That's an interesting question. For me, I always just go with however long a chapter is in order for it to feel good. So sometimes I end up with very long chapters and sometimes I end up with shorter ones. But I also don't write YA, so I might not be the best person to answer. Can we name the Slayer Lady-in-Waiting Elizabeth? No. Shagraz. Her name isn't gonna be Lady-in-Waiting. You don't know. Who names their child Lady-in-Waiting? You don't like the name Elysia? A very hopeful mother. You'd think if it was if the mother was naming her child what she wanted her to be, she would name her something like Duchess. Someone that really wanted to be a queen. True, yeah. If you named your daughter Lady-in-Waiting, then you could pretend you had a Lady-in-Waiting, right? A very hopeful father. I always go by feel with chapter length. I end the chapter when it tells me it's ready to end. Yeah, and I mean, I've definitely read a lot of advice about how. So the only thing that really I think is relevant to the question is, from my perspective, because again, I don't write YA, so I don't know what's more common in young adult books. Shorter chapters make the pacing feel faster. So if you want it to feel faster, you could definitely have a lot of shorter chapters, because theoretically, from what I've read, a reader's going to go through it much faster, even though it seems like it's longer because it has a higher number of chapters. But you can also, like, to me, I think it's okay to vary chapter length. Some people say you shouldn't, but I think it's totally fine. Like, maybe some chapters will have 2 scenes and some chapters will only have 1 scene. But I think it's really up to you in terms of like what feels good to the pacing. as to when the chapter break should happen. Hey, Neo! Since I know I get scared when I see 70 chapters in a book. Yeah, but I mean, keep in mind too, I don't know about other people, but I always look at the page numbers too. So if I see that there's like 70 chapters in a book, but it's like a 300-page book, then I'm like, oh, okay, that's still like an average length book. Versus if I saw it was 70 chapters and 1,000 pages, then I would be much, much more worried. 70 chapters, 70 pages. Those would be some very short chapters, Shagraz. I've seen chapters that were one word. A chapter only needs to be as long as it needs to be to convey what it needs to convey. Yeah, exactly. And to me, I think of my natural breaks in my story. So sometimes I will have 2 scenes in a chapter just because it feels like those scenes pair together really well. And sometimes I just have 1 scene in a chapter because it feels like that's what makes sense to do. 70 chapters, 1 page. There you go, Neo. Also, have you written any more action scenes, Neo? Do you have them ready to go? I think we're gonna name our person this, although I think Shagraz is gonna rebel and not like it. But I like that name. I don't think she's gonna have a title because she'd be a commoner. Although she could be a lady. She could come... Shagraz, we could make our Slayer come from a noble house. So she could be Lady Elysia Mallet. She could be a potential lady-in-waiting. She could be. She would not be... I don't think she would be a current lady-in-waiting because she wouldn't be out doing the work. But if she's a noble woman, she could potentially become a member of the Queen's Court and become a lady-in-waiting. Trying to decide who to write today, Scarlet or Hell? Tough choice. I think you told me about both of them on Twitter, and they both sound pretty cool. So how about we do that? We will make this lady, well, we will make her a lady of a noble house. I don't know if ladies in waiting are usually like first daughters or second daughters. I don't know if it insanely matters. I don't know if we're gonna go that deep into the lore here, but let's see. Attending a royal woman or high-ranking noblewoman. Historically, in Europe, a lady-in-waiting was often a noblewoman of lower rank than the woman to whom she attended. A lady-in-waiting was considered more of a secretary, courtier, or companion to her mistress than a servant. It doesn't really say, but I think I'm gonna make her a second daughter because first daughters in noble households in the time period that I'm thinking of, it would be very important for them to marry well in order to increase their family's status. So I'm thinking a high-standing family wouldn't train their first daughter to something like this. I know I'm putting an extreme amount of thought into this for something that I might, for a character that I might not ever use again. First daughters would typically need to marry very well, hopefully a high-ranking individual in order to increase their family's status. But a second or third daughter, it wouldn't be beyond the realm of possibility to give them another set of skills, especially if this family is traditionally associated with vampire slaying. So I'm thinking she's probably going to be a second daughter. A free writing session, a short one because I was just testing the stream. Oh, did you stream a writing session, Neo? For realsies? And you didn't tell me? Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm actually going to start the timer and actually do words on a page in a minute. But I have to tell you guys something really funny that happened yesterday. Yesterday, on our shared Discord, my husband was trying to post an announcement. Essentially that he wasn't going to be able to stream on Thursdays for the next little while. And then this happened. He accidentally typed the @everyone and hit enter instead of shift enter. And apparently, instantly, a bunch of people came and started reacting. And instead of just typing up the rest of his announcement or editing the original thing to have the announcement, he just kept posting these things. And he told me afterwards, he was like, you have no idea how hard it was. I'm just frantically trying to type and these reactions keep popping up. And I was like, honey. I was like, of course, once people started doing the thing, you basically encourage them by telling people to stop reacting. And then, of course, some of our mods got in on it and just started posting stuff, and of course one of them has sort of continued it today. But this is the most hilarious thing. When I opened my Discord and saw that this was happening, because I sent my husband a text offering to make him tea, and as he came up the stairs I was reading what happened, and I was just dying. I was in my chair, I was doubled over, I couldn't breathe. And he was like, did you see? And then he was like, yeah, you saw it? Because he could hear me laughing. And I was in tears. It was so funny. So yeah, that happened yesterday. Me and Vinyl were dying. Yeah, Vinyl said on stream last night that you guys were in a call and that Kali, like, alerted her with his laughter that something was going on. And like I told him afterwards that like I don't even, when I do announcements, I write up the whole announcement and then I go back and put the @everyone in at the beginning. So that I don't do what he did and accidentally post, because I accidentally hit enter all the time. The oh my god, stop reacting. Yeah, he just... It was so funny. So yeah, I personally, I don't see any reason why we should ever stop reacting to those posts. Just keep going back and adding more reactions. But it was pretty hilarious that he was like, I was trying to type and they just kept popping up. Probably gonna stream tomorrow, a bit later than usual. Nice! We have a section in, if anyone's in our Discord, the Discord I just mentioned, you can post in there in the self-promo section when you go live to let our community know that you're streaming. And we won't tell you to stop reacting. But yeah, that was super funny. Alright, I have blabbered quite a bit. I think I've gotten Shagraz happy a little bit with what the plan is. So, let me get my starting image in mind. And let's do 20 minutes. Let's do 20 minutes on the sprint. Good. Oh, I managed to make Shagraz happy, so I can feel fulfilled this afternoon. It's not, I don't think it's easy to make Shagraz happy. Hoping to finish this chapter on the sprint? Heck yeah, good luck. Former lady in waiting. That's true, she could be a former lady in waiting. Alright, 20 minutes. Let's clicky and clacky. goodness. Can't type. Ooh, writing hell today. Good luck, Laurel Tabby. Hey, Peter, how are you? Here you go, Shiraz, former lady in waiting. At this point, yeah, it would be a largely medieval, probably the later edge of the medieval period setting. It doesn't take place on Earth. It's definitely another world, but I'm definitely basing it on that time period. That was a long-winded way of saying yes. I'm sorry. This is the last of my pink flamingo iced tea, and then after I finish this, I'm gonna make some. It's not. Is it Genmacha? It's like a gunpowder green tea. Going to work. Neo, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Good luck at work. You would like a character fact about former Lady in Waiting, Alicia Mallet? Okay. Can I do it at the end of the sprint, Sugarross? Give me some time to think of one. Awesome. Vegetable? I guess it's an herb. Hey, Element Eds, how are you? What is up? Oh my gosh, that is the freaking cutest emote. I already spelled her name wrong. Oh no. No worries. I hope you were able to fix the audio issues. I basically just said hey, and that is the freaking cutest emote ever. And what are you up to today? Well, I hope the Littlest lets you get some writing in. That would be nice. I know when I've done long stints of editing, I always want to get some writing in. bad for a sprint, 865. Considering I am basically creating a new character to Shagraz's design as I go, I think that's pretty good, actually. I'm pretty happy with that. Sorry, I will now catch up on chat. Do I prefer Striker? I answer to either Striker or Megan, whichever is easier for you. Striker has been my internet name for pretty much as long as I've been on the internet, but Megan is the name I publish under, so I answer to both. I don't necessarily have a preference between the two. That was such a wild clicking experience. That's what people come for. Gotta give the people what they want. I call her Born. Shagraz. These covers are mad nice. Thank you. I did the Eternity's Empire ones are done by me. The Celestial Serenade covers are done by the amazing Molly Phipps of We Got You Covered. She's so awesome. She also did the Dreamers Do Lie covers. And then another fantasy author friend of mine, Beth Alvarez, did the Mystical Island covers. So I haven't done most of them myself. I just kind of come up with the ideas and other people do them. But yeah, I'm really happy with them. So, Dorothea Gaming, hello! How are you? What are you up to today? I'm just gonna scroll up and see because I know I missed a lot while I was typing there. Let's see. Hell is the name of a volcano in Norway? Is it? Neo's gone, so I guess he can't answer, but I know that this particular Hell is based on Norse mythology. Hell is the first part of hello, which I say because I'm here. Peter, how are you today, if I haven't already asked? Imagine your name is Hello. Hello, I'm Hello. I think I'll be able to get affiliate with my next stream. Just a few more followers. Nice! Janine, that's awesome. I never even actually thought I would make affiliate. I'm still kind of a little shocked that it happened. I'm okay, how are you? Doing pretty good. Had a hectic week, but enjoying this little writing project. Looking forward to, it's kind of my last big writing thing to do for the week, so I'm kind of looking forward to just having a bit of fun. We've got the former Lady in Waiting fact for Shagraz. We'll get to that when we catch up with chats. Imagine working. If I were a shark, I'd hide under everyone's car seats and wait for them to get in and start the drive to work, and then I'd eat their ankles. So would you be like a car shark then, Peter? Instead of a water shark? I had lots of sound running because I was trying to link up my phone and my laptop and thought the laptop was producing sound even though I had my headphones in. No, my phone just wasn't turned down. Oh my gosh. I had such a similar experience the other day. I often have many windows open, which I'm sure every writer can agree. I had 3 different Chrome windows open, each with multiple tabs. And one of them was the stream, because I like to try to lurk in people's streams, even though I'm sometimes really bad about saying that I'm there, while I'm doing other things. And so, suddenly the sound got really loud in my ears, and I thought it was the stream. So I turned down the stream, and it didn't do anything. The sound was still so loud. So I muted the stream, and it was still so loud, and I was like, what's happening? Do I have it open in 2 places? It wasn't even the stream making the sound. It was a completely different tab in a completely different Chrome window. And finally I was like, oh my god, of course it's not the stream, because the music is so loud that I couldn't hear the streamer over the stream. And I was like, and of course it started when I opened this tab, so just why didn't I even notice? So I definitely understand. I've had those moments. Getting some writing done today, which is rare for me. Normally I'm editing so long as the littlest lets me. I work as an editor and it feels like that's all I do. The last good stint of writing I did was in January. Oh my goodness. I mean, as fulfilling as it is to edit for other people, because I've done it a few times myself, there's nothing quite like getting to sit down and work on your own thing and just type some fresh words from your brain. So... You did fantastic. Covers are critical. The blurb for number 1, The Light of Eternity, looks great to you. Thank you so much! I stress the most about blurbs because I feel like I'm horrible at them. And I basically just, every couple of months, go through and rewrite a bunch of them. I think The Light of Eternity is the one I'm kind of happiest with, because I've rewritten it like 50 times. I'm kind of trying to nail down the Celestial Serenade ones, because I think they're younger and need a few more passes, but I'm honing in. I appreciate your interest in them. Got one sentence, but I've also been looking at Jackals for some of the newest traits. That makes sense. I did, obviously you guys saw I did a whole bunch of prep before I even started the sprint timer this time. Putting on my feet are killing me right now. Sleepy, but okay. I'm doing okay, Peter. Like I said, rough week, but, you know, getting over the hump, I think. A writer got distracted writing and not see what's happening around them? Never. It's never happened before. I should be writing a story about that. Hey, Squanchy. Do we know a hello? Neo made that joke. I would be an absolute car shark. Just a shark that goes from car to car eating people. That would be terrifying, and I would never get in a car. Never lurk in any stream ever. Sugras, I think I've seen you lurk in a fair number of times. Crone's a ram vampire. Oh my god, it is. Especially when you first open a new window. Supernatural writer, what's the trouble that you're having with OBS? It was not a random ad. It was I had opened like a game on another tab and didn't realize that it had music playing. Did a stint of writing last night and it felt amazing. Nice! A blurb is like the little book description. So if I pop over to Amazon, I'll actually show you the one that we were talking about. So if you look at like the book page, this is the blurb right here. It's like the little part of the description, the page that tells you about the book and what the story is about. And so it usually starts with a hook. My hook is an ancient power is about to awaken, and with it 5 ancient goddesses. And then there's a couple paragraphs about what happens in the book, and hopefully that makes people interested in reading it. So we tend to refer to these as blurbs. Blurbs are very hard, one of my least favorite things to do. And I always just kind of give up a little bit on my first couple attempts and just throw them together. And so I come back and keep chipping away at them and keep rewriting them. And I think The Light of Eternity was one of the first ones that I kind of did that for. And so I think it has a more refined blurb than some of my other ones. I only published The End of All Things, the first part of the Celestial Serenade, last year, and so I've only rewritten that blurb, I think, twice. I definitely think I got a good hook for it this last time, but it probably needs more attention. If you're planning to be an indie author, I think the bane of your existence is probably going to be writing book blurbs, and you're going to have to do it all the time. And you're gonna think, oh, I've written this, and now I don't have to write it again, but you do. You have to write it a bunch of times. So I think it's just like one of those necessary evils. I'd like to say you get better with it over time, but I think it's more that you just like refine it over time. You write one and then you just keep coming back and chipping away at it, almost like, you know, a sculptor pulling something from stone. I would try so hard not to eat friends. Friends are food. Friends are not food, they are friends. Well, I appreciate that, Peter. Because it means that you wouldn't eat my ankles. I assume that we're friends and you wouldn't eat my ankles. Same trouble as before? What was the trouble I was giving you before, Supernatural Writer? I think I missed it. Is it like crashing? They also appear on the back of the book. Yes, the blurbs are on the back of the book. So every book, be it traditionally or indie, be it traditional or indie published, it has some kind of blurb to describe what it is. Sometimes for hardcovers, they're on like the inside sleeve. sometimes, I mean, I've picked up books. I mean, I can use this as an example. Like, the book I'm reading right now, Heretics of Dune, has literally 2 small, tiny paragraphs about what the book is about. Although this is also a book 5's, and he was a bestseller at the time, so maybe he could get away with that. I hate the ones with just quotes on the back. Yes! Element Eds. I was just gonna say that. Some, like, traditionally published books have gotten rid of the blurbs, and they just put, like... They just put an excellent whatever, a mad romp by the Kirkus Review or something like that on the back, and I'm like, what's this book about, though? What's the book about? And if I have to spend more than, like, 30 seconds trying to find out, like, even to find the description of what the book is about, that's usually at the point where I give up. Like, I don't even mind, like, some people say, like, you should never have more than 250 words for description. I don't even mind if the description is long. I just want to be able to see it really easily. If I have to hunt for it, if I have to Google what a book is about, I'm not gonna do that. The paperbacks of the Caravel series are on the front page of the book. Yeah, that's fine too, if it's like right inside the cover. Usually if I'm looking for a blurb and I don't see it on the back of the book, I will flip open to the inside flap and like go to the title page, and if I find before the title page what the book is about, I'm happy. Had a hard time summarizing that book. The Caravel ones. Yeah, you gotta work on your blurb skills if you wanna be an indie, for sure. Some of the vintage Nancy Drew books I have don't have blurbs because they don't have the dust jacket. Yeah, that's true, but they probably did when they were new, I would assume. And also, I assume if you're buying vintage books, you know what they're about enough to want them, right? I mean, I find most books through recommendations, but that's only because I have a theme each year. This year is Aussie indie authors, next year is Twitch. Nice! That's such a good idea. I should do something like that. Okay, no, you didn't, Shagraz, because we're gonna do... I have to come up with information about former lady-in-waiting Elysia Mallet. So I'm thinking she is the second daughter of the Mallet family. I'm going to say, let me peek at something quick. I may or may not have notes for in another place about traditional ranks in England society. Oh no, where did I put it? Oh no, where are my notes? See, this is the thing. Everyone's like, oh, you're so organized. You have all of these notes. I'm in the wrong area, that's why. But I can never find my own freaking notes. There we go. Yeah, let's say that her husband, her father is a Viscount. So if you're looking at, like, ranks in, like, traditional ranks in England, that would be sort of middle, sort of a mid-rank in terms of, like, social standing. So you would have, above that comes Count and Duke, and then royalty. So her father is a Viscount, so he would be a fairly well-known, fairly wealthy, in good standing person. Viscount. Not 5 count. A Viscount is sort of like, a sub count, right? Like it's one rank below count, right? So a count would be considered more what's the word I'm trying to say? Like more respectable, more of higher rank, one higher rank than a Viscount. You're saying it wrong? How am I saying it wrong? And just as easier to make money on Twitch than on YouTube, like you have to spend the same amount of time. I've heard that YouTube's algorithm has gotten very wonky for sure. Oh, I didn't get the joke, Shagraz. I'm sorry. It was very clever. It was a very clever joke. Anyway, okay, we're supposed to be giving some lore about former lady-in-waiting Elysia Mallet. So her father is a Viscount. She's the second daughter. She was a lady-in-waiting to the current queen, but she was dismissed from the court because of questionable behavior. And I think probably because she was trained by her father to be a slayer because she was a second daughter. She wasn't expected to ever be as prominent in court as her sister, but because her sister married quite young and someone who was somewhat reclusive, she was called to be a lady-in-waiting to the queen, to sort of keep her family in prominence. But because she's very adventurous of spirit, she kind of can't hold back her enthusiasm towards her father's trade. She was caught in some unladylike behavior, and even though she was trying to protect the royal family from vampire intrusion, that was not enough to convince the queen to keep her in service, so she was dismissed from the court. She's sort of in court exile right now, and she's trying to restore some goodwill to her family name by proving herself as a slayer, by proving that essentially serving in her role as a slayer doesn't detract from her family, but in fact enhances them. And so that's partly what she's doing here in this scene, is she's trying to restore her good name by using her slayer skills. I hope that that satisfies your 3,000 points, Shagraz. I hope that that tells you everything you wanted. Questionable behavior, browse, yeah. So there you go, Shagraz. I hope that makes you happy. I hope that you're happy with our little slayer that we've made. What's her favorite color? Purple, for sure. It's purple, right? Gotta be purple. A very regal color, purple. You have to spend 4 hours on a 10-minute video for YouTube? Yeah. And I've heard, I don't know a lot about YouTube because I've never tried it myself, but I've heard that YouTube right now favors small, like, short videos. So if you have, like, hours of content, you kind of have to compress it down into, like, 5 or 10 minutes to get people to watch it. And of course you need a lot of watch time on YouTube to start making money because it's all based on watch time now. Her weapon of choice, well, she is a vampire slayer, so probably, I'm gonna say wooden stakes. But I am also thinking that, at this time period, in this fantasy world, they would be developing rudimentary pistols. So she probably has an, experimental, like, pistol that she also is trying to adapt for vampire slaying, I would say. flintlock style. Yes. Yeah, really, really old. It's interesting because from watching Time Team, I've learned that actually the use and development of gunpowder and cannons started happening much earlier in Western society than we tend to think. Now, I don't think in real history they would have had... I don't think they had flintlock pistols in the 1300s, but I think I'm close enough to that overlap that I could have, you know, a late 13th century style-ish setting where they were starting to experiment with. So right now she's wearing her hair sort of, it's long, but it's braided, and it's sort of braided to, like, pinned to the back of her head when she's working as a slayer. But it's long, so if she needs to go to, like, a party, interact with high society, she can unpin it, and then she can do fancy hair and eye color. You know, I didn't actually put that in here. I was thinking brown hair. What color eyes do you want her to have, Shagraz? What color eyes should she have? Short sword and large dagger could be an alternative to stakes, easier for her to explain, and depending on rules of vampire, taking head off can just be as effective as a good staking. I'm thinking stormy gray eyes. You got it, Shagraz. I'm thinking that she doesn't have to necessarily explain having... So in this world, it's known that vampires are a thing, at least in this time period. I think people are aware that vampires are a thing, so I don't think she has to necessarily explain why she's carrying, like, what she's carrying. But I do think she probably does carry a sword of some form, for sure. Usually. She sounds similar to my interpretation of Artemis. Art is very spirited and adventurous, hence why she tends to wander our forests and mountains, and live off the land as opposed to living in luxury on Mount Olympus. For sure. I do appreciate the advice, though, Fantasine. We are sort of actively developing this character right now. Live on stream, so... I do like the idea that she would keep a concealed dagger on her, though, because in a society like this one, vampires are not the only dangers to women, so she probably wants to have a weapon that's as effective against humans as well. Thinking she likes garlic-infused food? Absolutely. Skin color? I'm not entirely sure. I really didn't do a good job of getting a picture of this character before I started writing her, did I? Is wood and stake the only way to kill vampires in this world? I don't think it's the only way to kill vampires. Probably it's the best way for humans to kill vampires. I think that, in the case of vampires against vampires, there's other ways. Like, there's other ways for a vampire to kill a vampire. But I think it's probably the best way for humans. Also, I'm assuming, like, sunlight, they can't be in sun. So, they can be killed by fire. They can be killed by a stake through the heart. Probably decapitation would, because I don't know that I like the idea of vampire heads living after decapitation. This is a very, like I said at the beginning of stream, I haven't done a ton of world building on this setting. It's a very preliminary idea. So I'm sort of cooking it up as I go a bit. If I ever write the novel that is attached to this, I'll obviously do much, much more legwork. See, I was thinking about that, because when Fantasine mentioned the sword and dagger, I was thinking it would be interesting if she had a silver dagger. And as a noble woman, it would make sense for her to have something that looked a little bit fanciful. Because she could claim, like Fantasine was saying, she could claim that it's like a family heirloom. She could claim that it's just for show. It doesn't usually kill vampires. But like I said, she could also use the dagger. She could have the dagger for other reasons too, right? because she would also need to defend herself against humans. Hey, Owl! How are you? There are supernatural things. Also in this setting, although not in this particular time period, there are, like, wereshifters, so werewolves, werecats, that kind of thing. Because I know in the more modern setting, one of the other characters is a werecat. Ghosts are probably a thing too, I would imagine. I don't know that I've fully developed. Again, like I said, this is a really preliminary, a sort of vague world that I haven't done a lot with yet. Toads? Like sentient toads? I mean, non-sentient toads are definitely a thing. Or do you mean toads like the game? From, like, the Fighting Toads game? Shigraz, that's not very helpful. Those creepy green fuckers. You mean, like, toads that you catch, like, from the grass? From, like, the lake? Yeah! Hang on. I just don't understand if you mean, like, sentient toads that can, like, talk, or if you just mean, like, a toad. Like, one of these. Like, there are toads. Yeah! Why would there not be toads? Do you have something against toads, Shagraz? Just making sure. I think we'll use, I think this will have to be a character in the book. Imagining the frog dudes for Final Fantasy XIV. Right, Fantasine? I was trying to figure out if you meant something like that. Mermaids, I don't think will factor into this particular book. Not saying they don't exist in the world, but you probably won't see them. Oh, look at this toad. He's fierce. Magic? I don't think so. I mean, probably, like, the magic that's usually associated with vampires, like, small amounts of, like, telepathy, like being able to hypnotize or charm people, but probably not, like, full-on sorcerer magic. I don't know. Maybe... See, but that makes me wonder. Maybe there should be witches. Although I think witches in this world would be more like practical magic witches. So they would do things like potions and charms and, like, that kind of stuff. As opposed to, like, spells and stuff. That toad looks like someone made him mad, right? I would not fuck with this toad. Art has 2 concealed hunting knives made up half out of steel and half out of secret Olympian material, so she can go after both immortal monsters and mortal creatures. Ooh, that sounds wicked cool. How the first vampire was made. I'm not entirely sure. I have not settled on my vampire lore for this for sure. I do know that one thing that can happen is that if vampires feed on other vampires, it can make them more powerful. Which kind of adds to this double-edged sword of our main character in this story is hunting vampires because he thinks they are abominations and he thinks that they're evil and he's trying to get rid of them. But after they make him a vampire, he kind of refuses to feed on humans. And so he feeds primarily on vampires, but then the double-edged sword of that is he's inadvertently making himself more powerful and making himself a bigger threat to both humans and vampires. So there's definitely sort of an other side to that. Like, our main character is doing something that he perceives as being good and noble, but he's also causing himself and other people a lot of trouble by doing that. was gonna say no magic doesn't mean no witches. Yeah, exactly. And I like the idea of like practical magic witches who have like the herb garden and they take the natural materials and they turn it into things that happen, right? So vampires make more vampires by essentially getting the person they're trying to transform to drink their blood. Which I know is a more traditional lore thing. So you have to, it's not being bitten that transforms you, it's drinking the blood of a vampire. How did they trick Damarin? He was hunting them. He was hunting a vampire, and probably he ended up fighting a group of vampires that he wasn't, there were more of them than him. He was overwhelmed by them. And once they had him restrained, they were basically able to do whatever they wanted. Have most of my vampire lore down, but they aren't the traditional type. No problem with that. Yeah, I definitely haven't nailed down how traditional I want to go with this particular setting. I know I want to lean towards the more traditional stuff, like I don't want daywalkers and that kind of stuff, because to me it's more interesting if there are limitations to vampires' abilities. But I haven't nailed down, I don't know if I want to go like fully traditional or if I want to do a mix. They had their way with Damarin. Their way was turning into a vampire, but yes, Shagraz. Sounds like Flutter's dream. You have no idea how true that is. Oh my gosh. I have magic in my story, but the witches are more herbal teas and healing salves than Gandalf or Glenda. Yes, Fantasine, I love those types of witches. I mean, I like the magic witches too, that like I have nothing against them, but I think it's so cool to take like everyday objects and turn them into something special, and to have the knowledge of how to use the world around you to make things happen. I think that, to me, like, that's the appeal of natural witches, of, like, those types of witches, because it makes your natural world feel special and interesting instead of just a backdrop, right? I guess I should write more words, although I should also maybe make some tea. I'll let you guys decide. Should we do another sprint? Toad boy? Yeah. Yeah, this toad. Don't mess with him, Squanch. Do you guys want another 20-minute sprint and then tea? Or should we make tea now and then do the sprint after we make the tea? I can make a poll if you guys want. But if I make a poll, Shagraz is gonna make it be tied. So I will give a couple seconds for it to catch up. Yeah, Shagraz will make it tie. So, can't help myself. Talking a lot, make yourself some tea, sip during sprint. That's a good idea. I think that's a good idea. I'm gonna pop into BRB mode while I put the kettle on. I'll probably come back and chat a little bit while it's steeping. And then we'll do another 20-minute sprint. I don't think this is gonna be ooh, that is the wrong thing. I don't think this is gonna be a super, super long scene, but I probably will do 2 more sprints to finish it off. It'll probably be between 2,000 and 3,000 words to do everything I want to do with it. So a nice, chill, relaxed speed of the stream today. Just like Flutter in a room with a tied up Damarin. You're literally describing her dream, Shagraz. She would be very happy to be part of this conversation right now. Finish my chapter, on to the next. Nice, Janine, that's awesome. All right, I am gonna pop into AFK mode here. I will be right back. Alright, I'm back for now. Tea is steeping, so I will be popping AFK again in about 3 minutes or so. I did spend the time while I was in the kitchen coming up with the rest of what I want to do with this scene, so I think I'm pretty excited about that. Actually, doing a lot of this random world building, character building, whoops, camera's off on its own, has given me a lot of good stuff to put into the scene, so thanks, you guys. This was a very off-the-cuff, spur-of-the-moment decision to write this, and I definitely think it's been enriched by the input of chat, so that's the benefit of doing this project live. Mine are created through biting or drinking blood. They're born naturally and evolved from the same ancestors humans did, through slight ethereal influence. Same with werewolves in my lore. Nice! That's interesting. Yeah, I think we tend to think of vampires as being created rather than born, but, you know, I don't see anything wrong with having a version of vampires that are born instead. I always like to see what people do with different types of lore. I've not played around with vampires much myself in my other works. This is really my first kind of planned vampire story. I know that by the time it gets to... Because as I was saying at the beginning of stream, the idea is that the first part of the story takes place in like the late 1300s, in a world styled after the late 1300s. And it eventually goes through to modern times, right? So the idea is that, you know, Domran was born into this earlier time period where the world worked much differently. And I think where people had a much more robust understanding of sort of the creatures and forces. Like, I think the people who live in this time period are aware of vampires, they're aware of werewolves, they're aware that there are these other forces in the world that are threatening to humans. And then by the time it gets to modern time, I think they've gone into hiding, right? So vampires have developed ways to be more subtle and to hide themselves. And so there's only select people, groups of people that kind of know about them. Same with like werewolves and stuff. So that kind of stuff becomes like a sort of secret society. And it sort of moves more into the shadows. And so in modern day, a lot of the things that are happening in the story are happening in the background, whereas in the past, they happen much more in the foreground. And there's a lot more just like common people being associated with it or becoming aware of it or living with it on a day-to-day basis. And part of the story is about, you know, Domran, the main character, having grown up in a world that worked one way and ending up having to learn to live in a world that works completely differently, right? And so, in a sense, he does go through the slow change because he lives through these several centuries in which the world is developing. But I think he's also a very stubborn character, and he's often sort of stuck in his past. And so it's definitely another aspect of the book, when I eventually get around to writing it, that I want it to be the difference, right, between past and future. Hey, AB Coffee, how are you? I did see your message on Discord. I didn't get a chance to reply yet. I probably won't be able to chat until the weekend, but if you would be around on the weekend, let me know. I just know we're kind of booked tomorrow because we have D&D tomorrow, so... The ethereals are essentially the vampires and werewolves' answer to the deities we humans have, though humans do know about them in different degrees depending on which dimension they live in. Nice! So they're like a type of deity, a type of pantheon. We're just making tea right now, AB Coffee, which is why I'm flapping my gums here instead of typing. We've created former Lady-in-Waiting, Elysia Mallet, who is a vampire slayer. She is investigating an event which has never happened before, because that's today's prompt. And we're sort of developing some information about this setting as we go along. We've gotten lots of good suggestions from chat. Sunday I'm open, not Saturday. I'll be playing Top Golf, no worries. Sundays are pretty busy for me, but we'll see what happens. If it doesn't happen this weekend, it'll happen at some point. We've got company coming over next week, so I actually will probably only be able to get 2 streams in next week, and they'll probably have to be Monday and Tuesday because our company is coming Tuesday night. So next week is going to be one of those, if you thought last week was crazy, it's got nothing on this week. Kind of crazy. But Ghost's parents are coming into town for a week to help us do some stuff in our backyard. Some gardening related stuff. So that's going to be happening. My tea should probably be done. So let me go grab that, and then I can stop yammering at you guys. And we can do another sprint, which is what we're actually here to do. I won't go into BRB mode this time, actually, because I'm just going to be grabbing my tea. But I can give you guys a grumpy Domrin to glare over you while I'm gone. I am back. Also, AB Coffee, were you around for the infamous reaction incident of yesterday afternoon? Were you one of the people flooding the inadvertent announcement with reactions while Ghost silently seethed? It is tea to Zebra. I think it's, I don't have the label anymore because this is my last use of this tea, but I think it's a gunmetal green tea with some extra things added in. Heck yeah, that was hilarious. I can't believe that he just kept posting and didn't, like... The fact that it never occurred to him to just, like, tab out of the window and, like, type up something in Notepad and then, like, just put it. Oh, man. One of the best things that has ever happened on Discord. We are gonna do... We're gonna do another sprint. I've got a bunch of stuff I opened while I was looking for notes. We've got Toad Boy. I should save that. I feel like Dameron and this Toad are connected on like a spiritual level. I don't have notifications on and I just magically walked up to my computer when it was happening. I came in at like the very end. Because I was saying earlier, I sent him a message and I was like, do you want tea? And he was like, yes. And he came up the stairs and I had just flipped over to my Discord to read what was happening as he was like starting to walk up the stairs and I was dying. Like I was just, I couldn't, like side stitches. And he got to my door and he was like, did you, yeah, you saw. And I couldn't, I was like fully bent in half, laughing to tears. I couldn't even like breathe to reply to him. I was just like, I'm laughing now just thinking about it. It was so hilarious. My favorite part, for anyone who missed earlier and who missed yesterday or who's not on our Discord, my husband tried to post an announcement yesterday on Discord and this is what happened. He accidentally hit the enter key after just the first line and he had already like done the everyone tag. And then, as you can see, instead of, like, just typing up the rest of the message, which is all the way down here, he just kept responding. And it was just hilarious. And I guess it just so happened, too, that, like, a bunch of people were there to see the ping when it went off. And, of course, because because he accidentally didn't have the rest of the thing in there, everyone, of course, instantly responded. So, yeah, that happened. And it was so funny. It was also pretty funny, because, when I saw it, when I was, like, laughing so hard I couldn't breathe, Ghost was standing literally, like, right next to me and just waiting for me to get up and make him tea, and I was just laughing my ass off. To Zebra, how are you? What are you up to? I am going to put on the sprint timer as promised. Let's do it. Make sure the music isn't going to quit on us this time. Alright, let's do it. Spending time to take down so I can post a new fan fiction? Nice! Exploring a new writing perspective. That's going to be surprising, unique, and educational. That sounds fun! It's always nice to try something new. Is there a reason you chose vampire for this short? Yeah, I can go into that a bit more after the sprint. I touched on it briefly, but I can expand. Twitch Mobile and Walmart are not friends. Oh no! My Walmart is the kind you'd see in memes. People with tiger onesies, kids screaming everywhere. Wow. This is why I don't go to Walmart anymore. But yeah, that sounds like Walmart. Sprint is over. Let's see. I think we got quite far on that one. So we started here. 1,058 words. Perfect. I caught my stride for sure. So we're up to 1,923. I do think I can probably finish this in one more sprint. I'm definitely getting to that critical moment. Let's see. Waiting on time to take down so I can post new fan fiction. Can't wait for a couple of more days to pass as I'm exploring a new writing perspective, and it's going to be surprising, unique, and educational. Within a month or so, we'll try to use music again with one of the works. This one should provoke an emotional response. Have also toyed around with narrating a couple of articles. Oh my god, I thought my camera froze again. Have also toyed around with narrating a couple of articles with interesting results, experimenting and exploring various concepts. To Zebra, that sounds awesome. I love the idea of pairing music with a particular work. I definitely make like soundtracks for all of my stories, and I've always kind of wished that I could do like a companion soundtrack to my books, although obviously copyright laws being what they are, I can't. But that's super cool. I'd love to hear more about how you're planning to pair music with things. You may have answered this already, but is there a reason you chose vampire for the short? So when I was first thinking about the "this has never happened before" prompt, there were actually two things that came into my mind. One was for the vampire world, and that was the idea of vampires feeding on other vampires, because I think that's very unknown, very, like, so rare that no one's ever seen it happen in this particular part of this story, this particular part of this setting. And the other one was something that happened in the Assassins universe. But when I really stopped to think about it for a minute, I realized that I think I had already written the event that I was thinking of in the Assassins universe, which was a type of association between assassin clans. So it just made more sense to focus on this one. And I'm glad I did, because I'm really enjoying this scene and this stream, because we've come up with a lot of interesting things that I can incorporate into this world as well. And I actually did, I don't know if Fantasine is still lurking, but I actually did decide to give her the silver dagger, and I did mention it in the scene, so I appreciate that inspiration for sure. In case anyone's wondering, Twitch, Mobile, and Walmart are not friends. It's been years since I've been in a Walmart, and it will be several more. Nothing if not true to my word. Yeah, oh yeah, we have not shopped at a Walmart, I think, since before we moved to this house. And it's not because we're further away from the Walmart now, it's just because we don't want to go there. We hate it. We hates it. Here, Walmart is where society's upstanding citizens go for shopping. We have a local grocery store we like more, but half the time it's just $30 to $40 more expensive, which after a handful of weeks adds up, unfortunately. Yeah, I get it. I mean, I definitely think Walmart serves a purpose, and I definitely, like, there are definitely times where we are like, okay, we probably need to go to Walmart. We're lucky in that most of what we can get at Walmart here, we can also get for ever so slightly more and better quality at Canadian Tire, like enough higher quality that the price jump is worth it. It's not usually a $34 to $40 price hike, but so we usually try to shop at Canadian Tire instead, or even Costco, although we don't shop at Costco as often as we probably should. But yeah, we just had so many bad experiences with Walmart in general. And I don't know why. I don't know what it is about Walmart. Although I do think a lot of the stuff that they stock outside of the food department, because I don't think there's necessarily any quality difference in the food at Walmart, but outside of the food department, I feel like so much of their stuff is just cheap. And like every time we break down and buy something at Walmart, it breaks like a month later and we're like, well... Farmers Market, Ranch and Supply, or Amazon are the go-to. If they don't have it, I go into Mexico to buy it. Yeah, we also have Prime now, so we do buy a lot more stuff from Amazon than we used to. But actually, we just get a lot of stuff at our grocery store. We do click and collect. and our grocery store actually carries a lot of the stuff we need on like a day-to-day basis for not much more. Or like I said, we pop into Canadian Tire or try to take a run to Costco. So, but you know, if you need something from Walmart and the price is right, like I've got nothing against it. I just don't want to go in and deal with the people who shop there on a regular basis. Yeah, no problem, Wolf. Thank you for the insightful question. How is the heat level on my tea? Too bad. I'm assuming the same here is for not shopping at Walmart if you can avoid it. Yeah. Although, honestly, I'll be honest, we don't go into stores a lot anymore. Like, our grocery store would do click and collect. We started doing it shortly before the pandemic, and during the pandemic, we relied on it a lot. And it's really convenient because we just put the order in online, and then it's contactless delivery, right? So we basically just, Ghost drives the car into the parking spot and pops the trunk, and they put our groceries in there, and we pay for everything online. So there's like, my favorite thing is when I can get groceries and not have to have contact with anybody. We've had a couple weird incidents with it. Like sometimes they give us a really weird sub, or like sometimes they charge us for the item we ordered, but they give us something that's like not, like the one time I ordered Skittles and they gave me these like Skittles gummies, and I was like, they didn't list them on the sub, so I couldn't reject it, and I was like, what the hell is this? I just want Skittles. But usually, like every now and then we have to call them and get a refund or something, but usually for the most part it's convenient, it's fast, and I don't have to go into a store, which makes me happy. The only stores that I go into anymore these days are liquor stores, which probably sounds really bad, but I'll go into the liquor store to pick my wine and my cider. I've always hated grocery shopping, so the curbside is so much better. Yeah, same. There's just something about when you walk into a grocery store, it's like people lose their minds or something. The last time I physically shopped in a grocery store prior to the pandemic, I had like my coat and my purse in my cart, because that's what you do, like, so that you don't have all these extra things to carry. And some woman just walked up and started going away with my cart. And I was like, excuse me? Like, I guess she mistook it for her own. But then, like, when I was like, hey, excuse me, she just kept going until I, like, grabbed the cart and was like, this is mine, thanks. And it's like, not only are, like, my personal things in that cart, but also, like, all the things I'm trying to buy. And I don't want to redo my grocery shopping. And, like, when I think about going into stores, I just think about incidents like that. Like one time also, we were in a Walmart and I had stopped to look at something, and I guess my cart was kind of like not along the side. Like I try, when I stop to look at things, I try to pull my cart like to the side so it's out of the way. But I guess, you know, I was tired that day. I guess I had just kind of absent-mindedly not pulled my cart all the way to the side. I wasn't like in the middle of everywhere, but I wasn't like as far out of the way as I guess I should have been. And this older woman just rammed her cart into me and like ripped up my finger. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, say fucking excuse me. Like, what the hell are you doing? And that's why I don't shop in stores anymore, in case anyone's wondering. I hate interacting with people, and that's why. And I don't know what it is about stores. Nobody rams into me at the liquor store. Just putting that out there. But, yeah, like, I don't know what it is about stores like that, but it's like people just lose their fucking minds. And they act like uncivilized beasts instead of humans, and I don't understand it. So, yeah, I just avoid anything I can get curbside, anything I can get click and collect, and even though I'm not a huge fan of Amazon, Prime delivery, because I don't have to talk to anybody. That's wild. Yeah. I hate that that's a real thing that happened to me, but it is. And it was in this town that happened. So I can't even say that was at a Walmart that I don't live near anymore. Both of those things happened in the town I currently live in, which I generally have a high opinion of, but like, come on, for reals. Save the liquor, Randy. Yeah, I mean, in the liquor store, everyone's just, you know, maybe it's because everything around you is breakable and expensive and no one wants to have to pay for something they break. But, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is with people and being in stores. And it's interesting because when I was younger, I used to love, like, going to the mall. That was, like, the teen, I guess maybe it's like a teen hangout spot still, but like that was like the teen hangout spot. You would have, you know, the money that you got from your job or like your allowance or whatever, and you'd go hang out at the mall and you'd eat at the food court or at a restaurant, and then you'd just go like window shopping or shopping with your friends, and you'd just hang out. And, like, I used to love doing shit like that, and now I cannot stand going to a mall. First of all, trying to get into our mall is a gong show because the traffic is insane. But also, once you get out of your car and get into the mall, it's also insane inside the mall, and I'm just like... There's one store at the mall I like going to because it's the tea store, and it's super chill. And it's never insane in there, and I'll always go hang out there for, like, 2 hours. Anywhere else in that mall, I had to, our eye doctor is at the mall, and I had to have my pupils dilated the last time I went in there. And afterwards we had to walk across the mall to get to the car. But also we needed to stop in another store and grab something for me. And it was so awful because this was, again, pre-pandemic. It was so loud and so bright because I could barely see, right? My pupils were like this big and everything was so bright and so like it felt like, you know, when they do those like carnival scenes in shows where everything is like super loud and ultra like bright and they have like the brightness filter on. And everything looks a little bit distorted because they use like a fisheye lens. Like that's what my vision was like. And it was so overwhelming to my senses that I just kind of looked at my husband and I was like, just get me out of here. I was like, just get me to the car because I cannot be here anymore. I hate having my pupils dilated. Me too. And the funny thing is they always tell me like, it'll only last a half an hour. That shit takes 4 hours to wear off of my eyes, you guys. I don't know if that's normal or not, but like, it's no in half an hour. And they're like, you can drive home. I can't because I don't drive, but like, I would never drive with my pupils dilated. Are you kidding me? That's insane. Nothing more fun than loading a horse trailer where your eyes are dilated. Oh no, to Zebra, that sounds... It's making my eyes hurt. This conversation is making my eyes hurt. It's making my eyes hurt to just think about doing things with my pupils dilated. The Best Buy at my mall has a vending machine in their staff room that sells 50 cents for a can of cola. No one ever questions why I'm in their staff room using the vending machine. I was just gonna say, do you work at this Best Buy? So you just go into the Best Buy, pop into the staff room and grab yourself a cola? Is that how it works, Squanch? I love the idea that you just go in there and get yourself a Coke and no one notices. That's amazing. That's true, 50 cents, what you gonna do? How did you find out about this vending machine if you don't work there? Are you like a former employee? Do you have a friend who works there? Are you just in the habit of exploring break rooms? I do think if you stride with confidence, people don't question you. I do think that's a thing. Looking for a washroom, there you go. And you found the jackpot, 50-cent cola machine. Dang you. Alright, I am going to pop AFK quickly. I won't do the BRB because I think I'm just gonna be like 40 seconds reheating my tea, but let's do a quick tea refresh and let's do one more sprint. I think I'm almost done. I might not even need a full sprint for this one, but I'll probably run the full 20 minutes. After we finish the sprint, we'll probably look for a raid. It's a thing, people just assume I work wherever I am. Interesting. Is that because you just kind of look like you know what you're doing all the time, Squanchy? Or do you just have that look of the, like, he'll know the answer to my question kind of person? The answer when I come back. I'll give you me sipping tea this time instead of Damarin. Don't know. I think that's hilarious that people just ask you questions all the time. Okay. Tea refreshed. People do ask me questions, assuming I work there. Oh, I believe you, Squanchy. I think, because I've heard people say similar things before, that like when they're just walking down the street or whatever, people will just walk up to them and ask them about things like all the time. Like, I think some people just have a look. I don't know, I couldn't tell you what it is, and if it's like specifically friendly or like knowledgeable or whatever, but I think some people just have a look about them that makes other people think, oh yeah, that guy will help me, or that guy will know, or that gal will know where I'm going, or whatever. And it's just interesting that it does seem like some people, like no one ever stops me and asks me questions, but then again, like when I'm walking, I usually have headphones on, and I'm usually making it very clear that I don't want to have anything to do with the area surrounding me, so I'm assuming that's why. But I do think there are some people, because I know Ghost gets approached a lot and asked questions. I feel like my tongue stumbled over that one. From time to time, right? So I don't know what it is, but I do think it's a thing where some people just end up getting asked, like getting approached a lot. Although I think it would be funny if people had seen you coming out of the break room at Best Buy and just assumed that you worked there. I have a look. It's called what? Also known as a consistent state of confusion as to what the human animals are doing outside of the zoo. I feel like I share that to Zebra. I never know what people are doing either, or why. And sometimes I'd rather not know. Every now and then we see, usually it's driving. Usually we see someone driving in a really like weird way, and I'm like, what the hell are they doing? And then I'm like, I don't want to know. I just don't want them anywhere near my car. People in this town, oh my god. I could tell you another batch of stories because people in this town don't know how to drive. Or don't care to properly drive, I guess I should probably say. Sorry to be breathing so loudly, but tea is hot. I do get Asian tourists approaching me asking questions in random Asian language, assuming I know what they're talking about. Oh no. All problems large or small can be managed with the correct cattle prod. That is true, to Zebra. That is true. Athena has told me she has random people ask her stuff. I mean, goddess of wisdom. Makes sense, yeah. She probably has that wisdom-y look about her. Like that, yeah, she knows what she's talking about. Alright. I think I'm almost done with this scene. I actually don't even know if I'm going to need a whole sprint. But we're going to run another sprint. I'm going to finish this up. I'm really happy with how this has turned out. I'm just kind of at that. They've discovered the big thing, so now they're going to have the conversation about the thing that doesn't really happen. And I'm going to figure out where I want to wrap this up. I'm using a bunch of the details that we kind of came up with for the character during our chat before, so I'm really happy about that, right? That chat had ideas that I was able to incorporate. Because usually when I'm writing on stream, I'm writing something that I've already established a lot of information about, and so all of it's already in my brain. So I think it's been really cool and fun to have something that a lot of people had thoughts and suggestions for. The toad won't make it in. I'm a little sad about that, but maybe we can get the toad, our friend Grumpy Toad, into a different prompt in the future. Grumpy Toad boy. Ask her where that 916 socket is at. Was working on a trailer and it vanished. Oh no! She's also a teacher in my lore, so I guess that'll do. That does make sense, yeah. I would want to learn from the goddess of wisdom. I bet she's a good teacher. Harsh, but good. So let's do one last round of 20 minutes on the clock. Good luck, chat, if you're writing. Good luck getting words in there. Let's do it. Does the Goddess of Wisdom ever want to mess with people and give out the answer opposite the right one? Sarcastically. I don't know. What do you think, Laurel Tabby? I guess it would depend on if they've annoyed her. What kind of mood is she in today? Goddess of Wisdom, not before I've had my coffee. Had an original thought last week. Wife said it was probably gas. Oh no. I do think original thoughts probably do feel like gas though. Oh, I need a name. Let's grab one. I don't like those ones. Let's just get a gobbledygook name. Alright, that is finito for me at 2,497 words. Just a short little vignette here, but I'm very pleased with it. We've got lots of elements from what we talked about earlier in there. I think I started there, actually, which puts us at 596 words for that last sprint. Pretty pleased with that. I'm gonna let the sprint timer finish for anyone who is still working. I'm gonna check out who is currently online so that once we finish catching up with chat, we can do a raid. But please feel free to get more words in. calculating my word counts from this morning while we finish up the sprint here. Break time! Okay, so that was our final sprint for today. Let's see. Need to finish framing out a new set of inset shutter frames, then start to work on the slats. Thinking of adding flex solar strips to them. Nice! To Zebra, it sounds like you're really good at building things. I'm jealous, because I'm not. She can be harsh if the students annoy her, but mostly she just does her lessons and sometimes low-key says low-key sassy things. Like say the wrong answer sarcastically. Goddess of Wisdom has had enough. That sounds like something she'd do. Coffee with a bit of nectar for sweetening purposes. She does have like 12 owl coffee mugs. That sounds amazing. I bet they're super cute. Got 4 sentences written better than nothing. Exactly. It's 4 sentences that you didn't have before. And also, like, I come to these streams knowing that I'm gonna, like, word vomit however many 1,000 words on a certain topic, so like don't necessarily compare what you're getting done on something slightly more serious than this. This was a very spur of the moment, very from the hip kind of scene. But we finished it, and I'm super excited about it. I can't wait for this one to go up on the blog, actually. I think it was super cool to do a little bit of collaboration with the chat for a change. And I hope people will be as happy when they get to read it as I am with having written it. Shagraz, thank you for helping me put the leading lady together. I do appreciate. Good, I'm glad you had fun. I think what we're gonna do is drop in on Toasty Treat, someone I haven't gotten to talk to in quite a bit, because I was sort of AFK for a while, and I don't think I've really seen them since I got back, and I think this is the first time I've seen her actually writing on stream. Usually I've caught her doing crafts instead. So we're gonna head over to Toasty Treats, who is doing writing sprints. She's currently sprinting for another 5 minutes here. I don't think she's talking at the moment because, you know, sprints. But, yeah. We're gonna head over there. If people are writing and want to keep going, you'll be able to keep going there. Also, from what I've seen of Toasty's streams before, she's super nice, super chill. What part of the UV spectrum is toxic to vampires? I don't actually know, to Zebra. That's a good question, though. I might have to look into that. Unless you know the answer and want to tell me. I hope she murders all the fools. Well, I don't know, Shagraz. We'll have to see. I think I would like to bring her back for the novel for sure. Or write more about her for the blog in the future. She's already my favorite character. Nice. The vampire catches a ray of sunlight from a mirror. Yeah, I definitely think I want to use her again, for sure. Do more with her, revisit her story. My thought is that even though when I do this novel, it's sort of fractured between the present and the past, and of course the people from the past are sort of long gone, I think that the experiences that Dameron had with these people in the past are very critical to things that end up happening in the future / present part of the story as well. So it would be nice to have a robust cast of characters, because it's basically going to be like a dual narrative, so there have to be strong characters on both sides of that. And I do really like this Elysia. I like that she's kind of knowledgeable and like a go-getter, but she's kind of being kept down by the system. In the present, she would be. I mean, she would, I assume, being human, she would eventually die of natural causes, but who knows? Maybe she eventually becomes a vampire. Confession, I also haven't decided if reincarnation is a thing in this particular setting, because I'm wondering if one of the things that happens is that Damarin keeps re-encountering the same souls, or at least thinks he does. Like, he keeps finding people who remind him of the people in the past. So it could be that there's a version of her in the present. That is either a reincarnation of her or someone that Damarin thinks is like her and possibly a reincarnation of her. What's the end of that unless, Shogras? I'm scared. Runs around their cribs with blue light blocker checking for smoke. Do you think it's the blue light that gets them? They wouldn't be able to look at a computer. Just want to give Shagraz a chance to say what the other half of that unless is. You could also just leave it ambiguous. You don't need to say, well, true. I just think everyone's assumption will be that, like, 500 years have passed. Most of these people probably died at some point. Yeah, like you said. Unless she's a vampire. Yeah, I like the idea of, because it doesn't necessarily matter if reincarnation is a real mechanic in the world. If your character believes that it is, then it takes on a meaning, right? And I do think that one of the things that will eventually be in this novel when I write it is this idea that Damarin keeps looking for these people that were important to him in the past, right? Because he never expected to live more than a single lifetime. And sort of these people that he first met that sort of engraved in him these really strong impressions, I feel like he would long for those connections. He would want to recapture those somehow. And so whether or not these people do actually, come back in other bodies, I think he would be looking for them in other people, and he would find them. He would find rekindling of those connections and take comfort from that. And I like that idea of him constantly wondering, is it possible that this person came back to me somehow, or is it just wishful thinking on my part? Am I seeing what I want to see, or is this real? And I kind of like the idea of that being the question, and never necessarily because he'll never be able to answer that question for himself. He'll never know. There's never going to be anyone who can tell him yes or no, right? I'm also down for her to die saving Damarin and her family thinking Damarin killed her and hates him forever. That is kind of cool. Shugras, you're giving me ideas here. Would have to be above 400 NM? What's that? Someone get a bag of marshmallows. For the blue light? For the UV index. Yeah, I don't necessarily have even tons of plans for this novel in the future. I just know a couple of the concepts that I want to play around with. So it was nice, like I said, it was nice to work with something a bit more nebulous, something that you guys could throw some things at me and I could actually be like, oh hey, yeah, that is a cool idea. Like, we've got Elysia being a former lady-in-waiting from Shagraz. We've got the dagger that Fantasine suggested. We've got some of the speculation from chat about some of the vampire lore in here, and sort of just developing this character a bit based on what we were just spitballing. So it's nice to be able to do that, because usually like I said, I work with more established characters and concepts, and I kind of already know where I'm going with something. So it was nice to have a little bit more freedom. But he owes her family because she was a family girl, so it complicates. Yeah, well, And Dameron is the kind of character who would take a life debt very seriously. If someone saved his life, especially if they died saving his life, he would feel that he owed a life debt to her family until he could repay them. But of course, they wouldn't want him to repay them because they hate him, right? Life debt. I see what you did there. Or what I inadvertently did there. But it's the kind of thing he would take very seriously, would be trying to pay that back. Nanometer rating. Ah, you're so much smarter than me. Would be UVA. Most likely they would be sensitive to UVB and C. Very interesting. I've learned something. That's just how Flutter gets... That's just how Flutter gets some. She just needs to save his life. Actually, all she really needs to do is get him super drunk. But that's another story for another time. Let's see what Toasty is up to. I think she just finished her sprint. Oh, I think she might actually be wrapping up. Okay, well, we won't raid someone who's wrapping up. Let's see who else is around. We waited too long, my goodness. Let's see. I think most people are doing chatting at the moment instead of actually writing. But we could drop in on someone who is trotting. Or if enough people are here and want to drop in on someone else, we've got... Oh, I think Travis is just starting. Let's see what he's up to. If he's gonna do some sprints, we'll drop in on him. Cam as well. Yeah, let's drop in over there. It looks like he's just getting started, so he wasn't up when I looked the last time. This is perfect. Sprinting to another stream? Yes. I don't know. Travis does his sprints a little bit differently sometimes. He doesn't always have the countdown clock. But often he'll have stream raiders up, and often he will kind of write and chat a little bit more intermingledly. But he might be running some sprints at some point, and he'll definitely be working, so that still encourages the rest of us to get some work in there. Oh, okay. Vinyl sip. Thanks again to all of you for coming and hanging out. It's been a hectic week, but I certainly have taken a lot of heart from hanging out with you guys, getting to chat with everybody, encouraging others, and just taking some time to have some fun. It makes a huge difference. I hope you all have a fabulous weekend. If you're looking for more of me, I will be hanging out with a person who was not here, doing some D&D tomorrow evening. I think we're starting at 7:30 PST. I'm not sure who's streaming the game this week. It might be Call of Flumps. So let me do a quick shout out for the Cauliflumps. I think Ghost and I will be taking Saturday night off this week because we are actually going to see the new Doctor Strange movie. So I will be back Monday. I don't know if it'll be morning or afternoon, but I'll be back Monday with more editing. I'll probably be editing Monday and Tuesday next week, because we have company coming over. So I might be a little bit more AFK than usual, during the second half of next week. You can't take days off? Chagras. The company is Ghost's parents. They're coming to help us with some garden stuff. So we're gonna be just my in-laws. Are you asking my internet provider? Tell us. I don't know why that's relevant, but there you go. Woof, taking notes. So yeah, let's go hang out with Travis. I got some other stuff to get done before Ghost gets home. He has rugby again tonight, so hopefully it's held off on raining where he is as well, so he doesn't come home soaked again. Until then, friends, here are some raid calls. Thank you guys for hanging out during stream. Let's get that raid counter going. When are we gonna watch Ghost play rugby? He doesn't play the rugby, he helps coach. So probably never, but I will ask him. I will say Shagraz really wants to know when he gets to see you play rugby. Thank you for hanging out, Janine. I really appreciate it. Oh man, you guys. Oh man. Take care, seriously. Ghost is the mascot. Actually, they do have a mascot. I don't know if Ghost has ever worn the suit, but they do have a Griffin mascot suit. Don't say it was me, he'll never do it. He's never gonna do it anyway. I don't even know if he knows how to... I mean, he knows how to play, but I don't know if he, like, knows how to play. Anyway, guys. Have fun. Take care. I'll see you again soon. You are all the best.
It's good that the pet sitter